Kello with the Jello, and today for our special guest we have artist, rapper, Golden Gloves boxer Paul Rello.
This part of me don't play around. Held my peace for too long and I'ma say it now. All I needed was to figure it out. I put some seeds inside the dirt. Now look what came from the ground.
So I just want to welcome you to Play the Boombox.
What's
Thank
going on,
you.
everybody? How we doing? How we doing?
So first of all, who is Paul Rello? Like, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I was born and raised in Long Island, New York. I formed the Golden Gloves a couple of times.
Okay.
I'm local 731. Did a lot of construction throughout my days. Lately I've been doing like business loans and whatnot, but I'm getting my feet wet back with construction. I'm actually on a job site right now, like I said. But yeah, man, I'm somebody that is just trying to make it like everybody else. I've had my struggles, me being my biggest opponent, throughout the past 10, 15 years, I've always been the person that's got in my way. And I'm just somebody that's trying to figure it out like everybody else, making progress. And, just really happy with where I am today as a boxer, as an artist, as a musician. And just as a person in general in life, like everybody's going through the same thing. And it's just a matter of like finding that peace within yourself, and just being happy with where you are right now.
Right. And I'm glad you said that. You're being very transparent, because the way on social media today, people make it seem like things are just so easy. Anybody that knows when you're going after something and you're still working and you're doing this and you're doing that, it's hard. It's a battle.
It's a battle, but you got to just keep going, man. It's like we get caught up sometimes, you get down and out, or you get depressed, or you're unhappy with where you are. But it's like, when those negative thoughts come in your head, you got to just move past them immediately and just get back to the grind. Whatever it is you're trying to do, whether it's open a business or you got a new job or you're trying to be successful with music or boxing, there's always going to be those times where we have these negative thoughts where it's like, man, should I keep going? Or like, yo, I'm tired. I don't really want to do this. It's like when those thoughts come in your head, you got to just immediately get past that and just keep pushing. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you really going to see results.
Right. So your debut single, War, very powerful song, very relatable. What inspired it?
So everything that I'm talking about right now is what really inspired that song. I've had a lot of ups and downs in my life. I've been in a lot of trouble as a kid growing up. And, I got kicked out of my high school, sent to an alternative school. I got in some trouble with the law. And, war is just about being at war with yourself, man. Just fighting those demons, those battles, the part of you that wants to slack off and either drink and party or whatever it is that's, those negative things that's drawing you to them. You know what I'm saying? It's about being at war with yourself and finding the inner strength to be the better version of who you are, be persistent, and really give it your all to be the best version of yourself. So that's really what inspired War, is just trial and tribulation, just all these things that I've been through in my life.
And everybody can relate to that. So very, very powerful song. So boxing, is that something that you did first, or did you do music first?
I'd probably say I did music first. I started writing when I was really young. I was writing poetry when I was like, I can't even remember, but I would say, honestly, when I was like 6 years old, I was walking around with a binder with two words that rhymed, and I would fit them into sentences, not even realize that was before I wasn't even into hip hop. And, then in English class, the lessons of just writing and composition, I really was drawn to that. I started doing poetry. And then when I was like 12, 13, I like really transitioned to hip hop. Like once I hit middle school, like those years,
right.
Where I kind of just met all my friends that, some of them still cool with today.
Right.
But the kids I was getting in trouble with, you know what I mean?
Look, but you live and you learn. You live and you learn. Everybody got to grow.
For
we
real.
all had our phases, so look at where you're at now. That's all that matters.
Absolutely.
Do you feel like the music like helps you with your boxing, or like vice versa, either or? Do you feel like boxing is like a structure, you know what I'm saying, sport? So it's like you got to be very disciplined. Like, do you feel like it helps like in both lanes, like either way?
Absolutely, man. So like when it comes to writing, like writing for me was an escape. Like at first, where I was going through a lot of tough times as a kid, troubled teenager and a kid. So I would just resort to writing. It wasn't like I was taking it serious in songwriting, but everything that I was going through, it was kind of like almost a diary.
Right.
And then, boxing came into the picture around 15 years old, and I was torn between, basically living a life of boxing, which takes 100% of you, and then hanging out with my friends and doing the wrong thing. So anytime that, and when it comes to music, where I am now, it's not so much a place for me to channel my energy because I've kind of already gone through all of those things. Now I take it more seriously as songwriting. I use a lot of these past experiences that I've had and gone through, maybe like relationships now. If I'm going through a relationship, I'll write a record like that. But yeah, so boxing, like I said, was something that I was torn between the two. And when I was boxing, I was doing really well in every area of my life, whether it be school or just, at home with my family, my relationships. I was handling things better, my anger issues. I was handling things better. I just was very reserved, relaxed, calm, collected, because I was just like in the best shape of my life.
Right.
So boxing is like, people don't realize this. Like I've had a couple family members like, I don't understand why you box. It's like it's just two guys hitting each other.
Right.
And it's like, it's so much more than that, man. To become a boxer, like you need to apply yourself. Like I would say 100%, but you can't really apply yourself 100%. But like 80, 90, 100%. Like you have to really apply yourself and be diligent. You have to be disciplined mentally when you're in the ring fighting and you're just so exhausted that you want to collapse. Like that mental strength that it takes to move forward, like that shapes you in every single area of your life. So not only have I taken that into music, but I've actually taken that into everything else that I do.
Right.
And, back to the question that you were asking, like, am I applying what I've learned in boxing and music? Absolutely. Because like music is a business, man. Like you got to really, like, it's one thing for it to be a hobby,
right?
But to walk into the industry, like you need to be disciplined. You need to be sober. You need to have your legal stuff together. Your paperwork needs to be together. You know what I'm saying? Like you really need to be on your P's and Q's if you want to be successful in this industry.
Right.
And boxing is something, my bad, I don't mean to talk so
you
much.
Good. You good. Keep on.
But boxing is something that has really shaped who I am as a person and given me all of these tools that I need to be successful in the rest of my life. And it's funny because these past few years, like I really wasn't boxing, and I was just going through some things like relationships and being a little like overweight and like actually being like really overweight. Like these past 2 years, I've lost like about 30, 40 pounds. And it's like, whenever I'm not boxing, I'm just in like this, this funk. And once I pick up boxing, like everything in my life comes together. And for these past 2 years, I've been training. I've lost 40 pounds. I got a project on the way. I got 2 music videos on the way. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just in a really good place right now. So definitely giving thanks for, the progress that I've made in these past few years, for sure.
And that's good. And see, like you said earlier, the things that you have experienced, they help with your creative process because it's so many people that experience the same thing. Like you said, in these last 2 years with the pandemic and everything, I definitely gained weight myself. And I used to work out like 5 times a week. And I'm like, ooh, now it's hard motivating myself to get back to that point. Because, when you're so far gone, it's like, ooh, it's a lot.
And I've been there, man. I've been like, I've been at rock bottom, and it's like, that's the best place to build from, man. And it just takes day by day. We always thinking about skipping steps or a week in advance. It's like all we can control is what we do in this moment. And that's something that took me a long time to figure out. And it's like little by little, you'll start seeing the progress, you'll start seeing the results. So for sure,
Right.
Just gotta keep working.
And so you also have a new single, Ain't That the Truth? Like, tell us about that single.
So that's one of my favorite songs. Like I make a lot of hip hop right now that has like, that authentic hip hop feel, the authentic drums, like really where hip hop came from.
Right.
I think War was a little more along those lines. And Ain't That the Truth? The drums, everything about that record and just like the style on it, it's just a little more modern. I feel like a lot of the younger kids could kind of vibe to it a little bit more. But you know, that song came about, like my engineer, shout out to Mike Perkillo, you know, he's just a very talented individual. He plays like 4 or 5 instruments. You know, he's a wizard with Pro Tools. And, you know, sometimes I go in the studio and I'm like, yo, let's just make some beats, you know, because like, I got to have paperwork on my beats. Like, I don't just write to YouTube beats. Like, all the records that I have out, I have exclusive contracts. Like,
Right.
all my legal stuff is in order. So working with him, it's pretty easy because it's just me and him working. I'm already paying for the time.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I go in there, I'm like, yo, let's just make a beat. And you know, that's what I did that day. And we started, you know, laying it down. I was like, yo, throw the cello in there. He's like, all right, cool. He's like, yo, I'm gonna put an organ in here. And you know, next thing you know, we just had this dope ass, like chill, kind of relaxed, you know,
Right.
beat. But the drums were like fast enough where you could rap in halftime, you know,
Mm-hmm.
really slow, or you could rap in double, like really fast. So like, you know, if you heard the record, like in the beginning, the verses are very slow. And then
Right.
the second verse, it's like rapid fire. So yeah, man, that record was dope. So we made the beat and I went home and wrote to it. Took me a couple weeks to completely finish it.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, that song is just more so about confidence in, you know, the process and the progress that you're making. And, you know, just talking about being on the grind out here, hustling, trying to get it.
Right.
So very, very dope song. And I got a video that's going to be dropping for that song within like 2 weeks. I shot it with Tanner from Street Heat. Big
Okay.
shout out to, yeah, big shout out to Tanner, man. We went in on this music video. So when that drops, it's going to be, you know, it's going to be dope.
I have to set my reminder so I can make sure I post it on my platform also as well.
Yeah,
Check it
appreciate
out.
that.
Yeah, because people definitely need that type of music, you know, especially in these times. It's kind of dark. So you need that, you know, keep going type music to keep going. So music is like an outlet, like you said, even for people that don't make it, just listening to it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
When I get in my mode, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put my playlist on and go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
I was doing an interview yesterday and we were talking about um my bad about the noise.
no, you
Yeah,
good.
you hear that and
It's real light. It's nothing.
yeah. But we were in the interview just talking about like where hip hop is today and like where it's come from. Like
Mhm.
everybody's singing, and it's like you can't really be mad at, like, you know, a lot of people are mad at what these young kids are doing, but it's like things change, times
Hey,
change. You know, kids want to hear different stuff, and
yeah.
that's cool. But I feel like if you look at some of the most successful artists, it's
Mhm.
artists that's spitting bars.
Right.
J. Cole, Kendrick, Drake, even Logic signed like that $30 million deal with I forgot who he did it with, but it's like
Mhm.
there's still a huge market for that.
It
And I
is.
feel like today's music is a little more like, I call it attention span rap.
Yeah.
It's got such a short attention span. You know, it all sounds the same. It comes
Same.
in and it goes out,
And I'm
you know.
okay with the new wave. I just don't like that it's not diverse anymore. I feel like growing up, you had different type of hip hop artists. Like, cause I'm not in the same mood all the time. Sometimes I want to listen to some conscious rap. Sometimes you know you want to be a little ratchet. Depends on what you're doing. Like, I don't like that
Sure.
it's not diverse anymore. Like, I'm cool with the new wave, and like you said, things are gonna always change. But I don't like that everybody's on the same note.
Yeah.
That's what I don't like. Like some of these songs, they catchy. I can listen to them, but I'm not gonna jam that in the car. Like I miss listening to a full album and like letting it ride. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like
So
we were saying, like, you know, hit records today, like the attention span for that is like 3 4 months. Like when I was growing up in the 2000s, like, yo, records would be playing for like a
a
year, like
year,
2 years.
yeah,
And, like we use Sean Paul like glue as an example. Like, yo,
right.
that record was going for like 2 3 years. Like it just did not. Even today, you know, if that record comes on in the club, like everybody's gonna be vibing to it. And I just feel like we don't really get that kind of quality music as much anymore. So
Mm-mm.
definitely something I aspire to when I write.
Right. Because everything is, like you said, it's like a microwave, culture. Like everything is fast. People, they on to the next thing, on to the next thing. So people don't really take the time that it takes to, make a quality album anymore. Like everything is just fast, 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 fast. And like our favorite albums, the ones that we can still listen to today, like they took time making them. You know what I'm saying?
That's
That's
what
why it's like timeless. You can still
that's
listen
what
to
we're
something from 20 years ago.
That's what we were saying yesterday, using that word is timeless music. If you listen to like Kendrick Lamar, Good Kid, Mad City, for 5 years, it was top 200. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's quality music. That's something that's like you could listen to the song. It's not dated. Like, a lot of this music is time stamped because
Right.
it's a certain period in time where everybody sounds the same, and then we're gonna move past it. And when you listen back to it, you're gonna be like, like, that's kind of, you're gonna refer it, like the reference is gonna be in that time. You go back to
Right.
Kendrick Lamar, Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly. You go to listen to Forest Hill Drive, like J. Cole. Like, these are songs and records that it don't matter if it's 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the line. Like, when you listen to it, it's gonna be like the first time hearing it.
Right. So us saying that, like, what is your main goal, like, with your music? Like, what's your why? Like, what's your overall goal? Like, why are I know you explained like why you first started doing music, but like what's your why? Like, the people you want to reach, like, what's your why for doing it now? I know why you started, but what's your why? Like, what do you want to do
So
with
two
your music?
questions in there. One question, my biggest goal is to tie music with boxing together, to kind of
Okay.
just be the first artist. Like, I'm going pro. Like, I fought in the Golden Gloves 3 times. I got 9 fights. I got a couple smokers that don't even count on my record. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna fight in the Golden Gloves one more time this year, and then next year I'm going pro.
Okay.
So my goal is to really tie the two together and use each other to leverage each other and find success between the two. So that's really my biggest goal right now. My
Okay.
why, my why is because it's like my biggest fear is being 40, 50 years old, looking back and being like, man, why didn't I do it? Like, why didn't I give it 100%? Like, I've always, like, I'm in love with songwriting. You know what I'm saying? I'm in love with boxing. So it's like, for me to have such passion for something and like being torn between doing it, not doing it, like over these years, like that's what I've been like, on, off, on, off. Like, so many things in my life just gets in the way, whether it be paying the bills or work or relationships. So my biggest why is just, I want to give music 100%, which I've never done. I want to give boxing 100%, which I've never done. And I want to see what kind of results I can come up with. So that way, even if I'm not successful, which I truly believe I will be, you know what I'm
Now you
saying?
gotta speak it. You gotta speak it.
I just
When,
speaking into
when you
existence. I'm
not
a,
if
yeah.
when.
It's not when, yeah, exactly. It's when. But God forbid, if it don't work out, at least I'll be content. I'll be happy with myself, saying, you know what, I gave it everything that I have, and like it just wasn't meant to be. But I'm cool with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I feel good about it. I don't want to ever be that age where I look back and be uneasy
Regret.
with my regret. I don't want to
Yeah.
feel that. So
And I don't
that's my
honestly, I don't believe it's it wasn't meant to be, because I feel like if you have something, that you're passionate about and it just won't go away, I feel like, God put that in you for a reason. You may not reach Jay-Z status, but you can still get to, where you're supposed to go. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, for
If you
sure.
keep giving it your all. So you definitely will. You definitely will. So is there anything like outside of music and boxing that you want to pursue, or that's it for you?
Making money.
We all want to do that.
I'm out here right now. I'm welding a dump truck. I've been out here since 10 o'clock in the morning, man. My
Right.
brother, shout out my brother Peter Rello. He's got Precision Mobile Welding Service. The kid's
Okay.
a wizard. He's done a lot of work for National Grid doing pipeline. Now he's branching off into welding for himself, and I practice. I'm getting pretty good at it, but I'm out here right now grinding. So like my biggest goal of mine too right now is to just be financially free,
Right.
so that way I could put my energy into whatever I want. I have to right now. I'm trying to balance everything I'm doing. Like, work is taking a big part of my life right now, and it's like I would love to just put all of my
All of
time
it.
into my goals and my dreams and stuff like that. So, but I mean, the quote. What was the question? It was, is there anything else I'm trying to pursue right
Like, yeah,
now?
is there anything else like you're passionate about, like that you would want to pursue, like outside of maybe music and the boxing? Like, is there anything else you're passionate about? Anything else you're interested in?
Off the top of the head, nah, but just being like spiritually aligned, like that's a big goal of mine right now. It's
Okay.
just like, I'm saying, tapping in with what's, my relationship with God, You know what I'm saying? And just tapping in with like the higher version of myself, like reading
Right.
books, gathering information, knowledge, wisdom. You know, like that's just something I'm really aspiring to right now.
Right.
And just being at peace, learning how to handle my relationships, you know what I'm saying? My emotions, like, you know, I don't know if that was a question. Like as far as hobby, as far as
Listen. It don't whatever it was. That was a good answer. That's where you
yeah,
need
as
to
far
be.
as like hobbies, I'm sure there's something like some hobby I like, you know what I mean? Stuff maybe like learn an instrument, you know what I'm saying? But like these are my biggest goals right now. It's just
Right.
being the best version of myself. Cause I know that if I really zone in on some of these things that I just said, everything else is gonna come together.
Okay. So do you have any like dream collabs? Is there anybody that you like really would want to work with?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's too many of them that I would want to work with. I would love to work with Kendrick Lamar. He's one of my favorite rappers right now. You know,
Obviously.
his last out, he just makes that music. Like even Money Trees. Like I till this day,
Yeah.
I have Money Trees on repeat. Like
Yeah,
I don't.
that's the
It
one.
it just doesn't. It don't get old to me.
Right.
So I would love to work with Kendrick. I would love to work with Cole. I would love to work with Eminem. I would love to work with Drake. Um, you know, I would love to do something with Nas. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. You
So
got you
Jay-Z, I would love to work with.
you
I want to
got the
work
you
with
got the good
every.
lineup.
I'm trying to work with everybody.
Right. So is there anyone that like inspired you musically? Like or you just you I know you said you started writing like for an outlet, but like growing up, are there any artists that like really, really inspired you to like do what you do?
I
Like you
would
kind
say
of
Nas was like one of the main artists that I was listening to growing up. You know, I listened to a lot of '90s hip hop, like Big Pun, Jay-Z, Nas, Mobb Deep. You know what I'm saying? Wu-Tang. So I would say like all of these artists, but I would say Nas, Eminem, uh, and Jay-Z were probably some of the biggest influences growing up listening to those guys.
okay. Well, it was
Yeah.
so amazing talking with you today. Let everyone out there know, where they can find your music, all your social media handles. And we'll be looking forward to that video in 2 weeks. I can go ahead and drop it on my page.
Mm-hmm. So my social media handle across the board is Paul Rello, PaulRello, and that's on all digital platforms: Instagram, Facebook, excuse me, Twitter, anywhere. Just type in Paul Rello.
Well, thank you so much. I had an amazing time. Thank you for sharing your story, letting us know about your music, your goals. I look forward to speaking with you again. Next time I talk to you, you're gonna be up another level.
That's
So
it.
I'm
We just
I'm gonna
going
still
up.
need that interview. Don't be trying to act funny now. I'm like, remember,
Nah,
Paul, you said.
I'm gonna tap in with you for sure.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
thank you. You enjoy the rest of your evening. Get back to work.
Yeah, I gotta get back to work. Yo, thank you so much for having me. I really
No problem.
appreciate you.
I
And we'll
appreciate
definitely
you.
tap in after this next single. I would love to come back on and have another conversation. So thank you for
Yes,
having me today.
I'm looking forward to it. Okay,
All
thank
right.
you.
Take care.
Bye.